Good evening. This is Sri Primo with a preview of the 2026 Austrian Open. I will cover both the men's and women's, but today we'll start with the women's and we'll start with the top seeds in the women's bracket. We know that Sabalenka, Swiatek, Coco Gauff, Amanda Anisimova, Rebekina Pegula, Paulini, and Andreeva. These are the top eight seeds. Interestingly, the player who won the tournament last year in Australia, Madison Keys, that was her sole Grand Slam title. She's right now dropped out of the top eight. She's now at nine. So this main draw actually begins in a couple of days. It actually begins on Sunday um, in Australia, and it'll go on till the end of the month, Jan 31st. And this is a um, 28 player field. Um, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. So in Australia, as I mentioned, Madison Keys was the defending champion. She upset Sabalenka in the 2025 final, pretty much ending Sabalenka's bid for a three-peat last year. So I'm sure Sabalenka would be um, looking forward to claim the throne. Um, but Swiatek is now uh, seated second. She's already got one Australian Open, I believe, and and I think that'll be pretty amazing as it is. So um, uh, I think I said chasing her first Australian Open title because I think she doesn't have a career Grand Slam yet. Because she just won the Wimbledon, she was already won the U.S. Open and the French last year. And obviously, we have Coco Gauff, who's also won majors, and then upcoming Amanda Anisimova. So we'll quickly get down to the matchups. There are a lot of interesting matchups in the early rounds. You're going to see, um, and there's a lot of second round matches which are very, very interesting. One, especially being Coco Gauff playing against one of the Hall of Famers, Venus Williams, who was able to get a draw. So if Venus gets to the first round and Coco gets to the first round, they will face each other in the second round itself. So it's an early matchup. And if Coco gets past her, and then on the other half, when you have like Juan Rosa winning, it'll be like Coco and Juan Rosa. So let's quickly go down to a lot of interesting matchups in play here. Um, so let's break it down by the quarters. Maybe that's probably the better way to do it. I kind of jumped straight into the Coco bracket. But I'm going to go to, we'll split it by four different quarters. We'll call it the Sabalenka section, the Coco section. Then we're going to go through the Anismo section, and then we'll go to the Iga section. So let's stay in the Coco section itself because we started with it. And then in Coco section, you have a lot of very great players mixed in. You also have Mira Andreeva, who's also right in the bracket, in the Coco bracket. And there's an interesting matchup for Andreeva after the first round. She could potentially face Maria Sakkari from Greece. But the other players, notable players, include Emma Navarro from the US, who could be playing another major winner in Muhova. But Muhova is actually a very interesting second round matchup with um, Ayla, Alexandra Ayla from Philippines. So a lot of great matchups here. When I think about this bracket, you got the folks who could potentially uh, stymie Coco's advance into the semifinal. You got Juan Rosa, you got Muhova, two major winners, and then you got the young Mira Andreeva. So when I think about this quarter, you could have a Coco Gauff and Mira Andreeva in the quarterfinals. And that's what I'm picking because I think uh, Coco has been playing much better. And one thing that'll worry me is like if Emma Navarro can get past Mohova, the Coco and Emma Navarro matchup could be a very dicey matchup for her. But I think Coco will probably prevail in that matchup. And so that's where we have on this Coco bracket. You got Coco versus Mira Andreeva is in my quarterfinals. And then I'll talk about who's going to get to the semifinals. So let's quickly go down to the Sabalenka bracket. In the Sabalenka bracket, Sabalenka actually could have a very potential matchup with another Grand Slam champion, and in Emma Raducanu. And Emma Raducanu will be playing against Sabalenka in the third round, actually. And then you got Canadian star who rose into the Canadian during the Canadian Open. Uh, she was able to win that. I mean, she was playing amazing. But right now, she's actually ranked number 17. And if she can get past that, she has a very dicey matchup against Clara Towson, who's a great player by herself. So uh, Boko and Clara Towson will face each other in the third round. Um, and I'm actually picking experience there. I'm actually picking Clara to move on, beating Boko, who set up a matchup with Sabalenka in the fourth round. In the below half, you have the Paolini. I think Paolini could face Kostuk. I mean, I think that's a tough matchup for her, but I think Paolini, she's currently ranked in the, I think she's ranked number 7 right now in the bracket. So I see a Kostuk and Paolini in the fourth round, and Sabalenka and Clara Towson. And then on the Sabalenka half, I don't see any problems for Sabalenka. She's going to breeze through and she's going to go and face Paolini. That's what I see right now in that bracket. So right now the quarterfinals looks like Sabalenka and Paolini and Coco and Mira. Now let's quickly get down to the other two brackets. We have the Swiatek bracket as well as the Anisimova bracket. Let's talk about the Anisimova bracket. Um, so before we get to that, um, uh, Anisimova should have an easy openers, but then she could potentially face against um, Pegula in the quarterfinals. But that's a way out there. There's a lot more battle she has to go through. I mean, she plays like Sofia Kenin, but you know what? She's going to play Ostapenko in the fourth round, and that's a player uh, who can't be easily dismissed. So I think Anisimova actually she's rising to the top 4 right now. She's proved that she's probably one of the hardest hitters of the ball, and I mean if she could get past Ostapenko, there's a potential matchup in the fourth round between Jessie Pegula and Madison Keys. So Keys, like I said during my earlier start, she's dropped out of the top 8. Um, I think she won the Austrian Open, but I don't see Keys repeating as the Austrian Open champ there. I feel that she could stumble under Pegula, and Pegula will set up a quarterfinal matchup with Anisimova. And then on the other, the EGA bracket, I I I, I was actually watching some of the tennis channel ones, and Daniela Collins made a statement saying that Iga is going to get bounced out in the first 2 rounds. I actually don't see that. I mean, Iga has got first one. I think the first 2 rounds are pretty easy. The third one, she'll probably face Kalinskaya. I don't see Iga losing to Kalinskaya. The one potential roadblock that Iga could face is when she plays like Naomi Osaka in the fourth round. Um, when Iga has not played really well, we know that. I mean, she recently lost to Coco Gauff, I believe in that United Cup, but I don't see Iga losing to Osaka. And remember, when Iga won the Wimbledon last year, one of the things that many players or many commentators said was that right after the French Open, they were kind of questioning Iga's whether Iga can win another major. And remember, guys, she's only like 24, 25 years old. And Iga really took it to heart and she really breezed through the Wimbledon. And of course, we all know what happened in the Wimbledon. She beat Anisimova 0-0. So, I mean, double bagel. So, Iga is not someone that you're going to dismiss very easily. She's going to be um, battle tested. She's going to be well prepared. And I think Iga and Osaka will be a three-setter. That's what I think. And I think Iga is going to prevail. Now, that's one thing. But in the other one, you have a good matchup. Rebekina has actually been playing really well. I think she won a cup recently. I think the Year-End Cup, um, um, I think in Saudi Arabia. And Rebekina could be playing against Belinda Bencic in the fourth round. And Bencic is actually playing really well. I mean, she's rose up in the rankings. In fact, she's actually in the top 10 right now. So very impressive. And then, of course, Rebekina is in five. So you could potentially have a Bencic and Rebekina matchup in the fourth round itself. And it's going to come down to, I think Rebekina is going to be a little better to over Benchik, and she's going to move on to the quarterfinals. So this is the quarterfinal matchup we have on the Iga half. You got Iga versus Rebekina. So let's quickly go down to the top eight. You got Sabalenka and Paolini. Then you got Coco and Mira and Riva. Then you got Pegula, Anisimova, Rebekina, and Iga. This time I'll go from the bottom up. So I see Iga actually going and winning that battle against Rebekina. I think she just has too much power. Iga is going to be hardcore. Is our, I know everybody knows that French is our favorite, but she's equally done very well in the hardcore and she's got something to prove, especially after a loss to Coco earlier a couple month ago. So I feel that Iga will be ready, and she will probably go past Rebekina. On the other half, you got Pegula and Anisimova. I really feel this is Anisimova's year. I mean, I won't be shocked if she wins one or two majors this year. So Anisimova, I really think that she's going to. Pegula is someone like we've talked about Pegula in the past. I mean, she's someone who gets to the quarterfinals, semifinals, but maybe one final here and there, one final. But I definitely think that her best days are behind her. Well, she could prove me wrong, but I don't see um, Pegula beating Anisimova in the current stage of her career. So we got Anisimova moving on, facing Iga. In the other half, in the Sabalenka bracket, you got Sabalenka playing against Paolini and Coco Gauff against Mira and Andreeva. I was very, very conflicted with the Mira and the Coco matchup. I wouldn't be shocked if Mira wins, but I'm actually going with uh, the more experienced player in Coco, which is actually kind of interesting considering that Mira is only 18 years old. But I feel that Coco is going to move past Mira and Riva. Mira and Riva, good run until the quarterfinals comes to an end. And you got Coco moving on. Now, as far as the other matchup, you got Sabalenka and Paolini. I really feel Sabalenka is clicking on all cylinders right now, and I don't see her losing this matchup against Paolini. Now, I think if lucky, Paolini could take her to the next set, third set, but I really don't see her kind of defeating Sabalenka at this point. So I got Sabalenka versus Coco there. So the final four for me is Sabalenka and Coco, Anisimova versus Iga. So let's quickly talk about this here. Anisimova. I actually feel that um, Anisimova he's got something to prove this year. As you know, last year she lost in the final in Wimbledon, but she was also able to get in the Grand Slam. So I think I finals again. So I really think that Anisimova could easily, I would say, um, be a very critical player, you know, this time. So I'm actually picking Anisimova to beat Iga and going on to play Sabalenka. How sweet it'll be for Anisimova to beat Iga after the drubbing treat she took in the Wimbledon. So Anisimova gets her revenge in Australia, and it's a new year, and Sabalenka moves on to the final. So the final is going to be between Anisimova and Sabalenka. And I really, really think Anisimova, this is our opportunity. This is this is the one where she's going to um, win her first major. It'll be just phenomenal, remarkable from her standpoint, having gone through what she did in the Wimbledon. So, but she's also been playing the best tennis right now. So we got Anisimova playing Sabalenka and Anisimova winning it in 3 sets. That's what I'm predicting with. I mean, again, a lot of things could go wrong, but at this stage, I would say Anisimova is going to get her first Grand Slam title, and that'll really give her a lot of confidence going into the Wimbledon championships, and where she has something really to prove on the grass surface. So this is where we are with the tennis, the Austrian Open women's tennis, um, and Anisimova is going to get her first crown, and that's what I think in the women's section. As far as the men are concerned, I will do another one later, but this is where we are with the women's ATP. But there's a lot of interesting storylines. You got redemption for Sabalenka. 20 match Australian Open streak ended last year in the final. Can she win the third one? Of course, we talked about Swiatek's Slam Quest. Once she gets the Australian Open for the career Grand Slam, she'll be the most happiest person in the world. Um, you got the American surge, as I mentioned. You got while Keys is still has been there for a while. Anisimova, excellent playing, got to the final in Wimbledon as well. So, and I think you got Pegulas of the world, Goffs, and all of these guys are rising for sure. Um, and then, as I mentioned, Rybakina, she won the 2023 Finals champ, um, and she's got the momentum going in her favor. Of course, we got Osaka. She's back on the courts, and who knows? I mean, Osaka is going to play, if I'm not mistaken, Swiatek, but I really don't think she's going to match pound for pound strokes, and I think Iga could prevail. I think we already talked about the teen talent. You got Andreeva, who's still 18, who could be facing Coco um, in the rounds. So this is where we are in terms of the analysis and the picks, and it's going to be fun. Australian Open. Thanks again for listening. Have a good rest of the day.